looking so crazy in love. Baby, you got me. You got me.
Emily Reed is a young and innocent lawyer who has just started her career. She is quiet, serious, and still trying to find her place in the real world. One day, she gets an exciting opportunity. Her boss asks her to travel to Brazil for a business deal involving a luxury hotel property. It feels like a big step for her, something that could prove her worth. She travels with Claudia, a confident and experienced woman who works closely with her boss. Claudia is the complete opposite of Emily. She is bold, stylish, and completely comfortable with her surroundings. From the moment they arrive in Rio de Janeiro, Emily feels like she has stepped into a different world. The city is full of life, music, and color. The beaches are beautiful, and the nights are filled with energy. But for Emily, it is also overwhelming. She is not used to this kind of freedom or intensity. Claudia, however, moves through it all with ease, introducing Emily to new experiences and pushing her out of her comfort zone. Soon after arriving, they meet James Wheeler, a mysterious and wealthy man who seems to know everyone and everything. He is charming, confident, and carries an air of control. From the first moment, Emily feels something strange around him. She is curious, but also unsure. James takes an interest in Emily, but not in a direct way. Instead of pursuing her openly, he begins to draw her into his world slowly. He invites them to parties, introduces them to different people, and exposes Emily to a lifestyle she has never imagined before. At one of the parties, Emily notices the way people interact with James. There's a certain tension, a sense that he holds power over situations. He doesn't rush things. He watches, observes, and lets others come to him. This makes Emily even more curious about him. Claudia seems very comfortable around James. In fact, she encourages Emily to explore this connection. She tells Emily that life is about experiences and that sometimes you have to let go of your fears. But Emily is not sure she is ready for that. As days pass, Emily continues working on the business deal, but her focus starts to shift. She finds herself thinking about James more and more. Every encounter with him feels like a test, as if he is trying to understand her without asking direct questions. One evening, James invites Emily to a more private setting. The atmosphere is quiet and different from the loud parties. They talk, and for the first time, Emily sees a softer side of him. He asks her about her life, her dreams, and what she really wants. Emily realizes that she has always followed a safe path. She has done what was expected of her, stayed within boundaries, and avoided risks. Being around James makes her question all of that. She starts to wonder if she has been holding herself back. But James doesn't make things easy for her. Instead of giving her clear answers or showing his feelings directly, he keeps a distance. He creates a space where Emily has to face her own thoughts and emotions. Claudia continues to guide Emily, but in her own way. She exposes her to situations that challenge her innocence. Emily begins to see relationships and attraction from a different perspective. It's not just about feelings. It's also about control, desire, and understanding oneself. As Emily spends more time in Brazil, she begins to change. She becomes more aware of her surroundings, more confident in her actions, and more willing to take small risks. But at the same time, she feels confused. She is not sure if she is becoming stronger or simply getting lost in something she doesn't fully understand. James remains a constant mystery. Sometimes he is close, making Emily feel special and seen. Other times he pulls away, leaving her unsure of where she stands. This push and pull creates a strong emotional tension between them. One night, Emily witnesses a situation that makes her question everything. She sees how people behave around James, how power and attraction mix in ways she is not used to. It makes her uncomfortable, but also curious. She begins to realize that the world she has entered is not simple. Claudia tries to explain that people have different ways of expressing themselves and that Emily should not judge too quickly. But for Emily, it is not that easy. She is still trying to understand her own feelings. Meanwhile, the business deal they came for continues in the background. Meetings take place, documents are reviewed, and negotiations move forward. But for Emily, this trip is no longer just about work. It has become something much more personal. Claudio, on the other hand, seems to understand this world completely. She moves through it without hesitation, showing Emily that there is power in confidence. But Emily knows she is not like Claudia. She cannot simply become someone else overnight. The tension between Emily's old self and her new experiences keeps growing. She starts to question what she really wants. Is she looking for love, adventure, or simply a chance to understand herself better? James continues to stay just out of reach, making Emily come closer on her own. This makes their connection even stronger, but also more complicated. Emily feels like she is being pulled into something she cannot fully control. As the trip moves forward, everything starts to build toward a moment that will force Emily to make a decision. She can either step back into her safe, familiar life, or she can take a risk and embrace this new version of herself. And just when she feels like she is starting to understand what she wants, something happens that makes her question everything all over again. Emily begins to notice that the world around James is not just about charm and mystery. There's a deeper layer, something built on emotional control and quiet power. She starts to understand that James doesn't chase people. Instead, he creates situations where people come to him, drawn by curiosity and desire. This realization makes her pause. For a moment, she wonders if she is just another person being pulled into his world, or if what they share is actually real. The doubt sits heavily in her mind, and for the first time, she starts to pull back. Claudia notices this change immediately. She tells Emily that what she is feeling is normal. She explains that sometimes, to truly understand yourself, you have to go through confusion. But Emily is not fully convinced. She wants something genuine, something she can trust without questioning every step. At the same time, the business deal they came for is nearing its final stages. Meetings become more serious, and Emily is expected to focus. She tries to shift her attention back to work, but her thoughts keep drifting back to James. One evening, James invites Emily to a quiet place away from the noise of the city. The setting is calm, almost peaceful, with soft music in the background. This time, the atmosphere feels different. There is less mystery and more honesty. They talk for a long time. Emily finally expresses what has been building inside her. She tells him that she doesn't understand his ways, that she feels confused by the distance he keeps. She asks him directly what he wants from her. James listens carefully. For once, he doesn't avoid the question. He explains that he believes in allowing people to discover their own desires instead of pushing them. He says that real connection cannot be forced, it has to come naturally. Emily understands his words, but she also realizes that his approach has been difficult for her. She needed clarity, something simple and direct. Still, she can't deny that being around him has changed her. Meanwhile, the business deal is successfully completed. Emily has done her job well, proving that she is capable and responsible. But what matters more to her now is not the deal, but the personal journey she has experienced. On her last night in Brazil, Emily decides to meet James one final time. There is no grand plan, no expectations, just a quiet moment to say goodbye. When they meet, there's a sense of understanding between them. They both know that what they shared was important, even if it doesn't have a clear future. James looks at her with a softness that was hidden before. Emily feels a mix of emotions, gratitude, sadness, and something deeper she can't fully explain. They don't try to define their relationship. Instead, they accept it for what it is, something meaningful that came into their lives at the right moment.
Emily realizes that she no longer needs answers to everything. She has learned that sometimes experiences are not about clear endings or labels. They are about growth, about understanding yourself and what you truly want.
As they part ways, there is no dramatic goodbye, just a quiet acceptance. James remains who he is, and Emily walks away as someone changed. The next day, Emily prepares to leave Brazil. As she looks around the city one last time, she feels a sense of peace. The place that once felt overwhelming now feels familiar. It has become a part of her story. On the journey back, she reflects on everything. She thinks about her old life, the routine she used to follow without question. Now she sees it differently. She knows she has the ability to make her own choices, to explore life beyond what is expected. When she returns home, things are the same on the surface. The office, the work, the daily routine, everything looks unchanged. But inside, Emily is not the same person anymore. She carries a new confidence, a quiet strength that comes from understanding herself better. She no longer feels the need to stay within strict boundaries. She knows she can step beyond them when she chooses. Claudia continues her life as before, moving confidently through her world. But Emily now understands that she doesn't have to become someone else to grow. She can find her own way. Emily moves forward with a new perspective. She focuses on her career, but now with a sense of purpose that comes from within, not from expectations. She allows herself to experience life more openly, without overthinking every step. In the end, her journey was not about romance alone. It was about self-discovery, about understanding desire, control, and personal freedom. It was about learning that growth often comes from stepping into the unknown. And even though that chapter has ended, its impact stays with her, shaping the person she is becoming. Because sometimes the most important journeys are not about where you go, but about who you become along the way.